Yes, even stick welding, aluminum still has to be clean. It's going to be a little bit more of a pushing angle. This is going to be a pain. I have to move really fast. It's more like yogurt. Watch how fast I have to go. This is real time. That's stick welding with aluminum. People ask me all the time why I still use the stick welding process when we have things like MIG and TIG that are so accessible. And the answer is really simple, and it's just versatility. Instead of switching out a spool, switching gases out, switching tips and nozzles and all these other variables, with stick welding, the only thing you have to change is your amperage settings and your electrode. So if I want to do mild steel 1 second and then stainless steel the next, it's pretty simple. You just switch your rod. That becomes a little bit more difficult with aluminum because, well, not a lot of people realize that you can stick weld aluminum. It's not the preferred process, I would say, but it can still get done, and it can get done pretty well with some practice. So I have some 4043 stick welding electrodes from Blue Demon that we're going to try out. I've done this a couple times for field repairs really quick, and to be honest, it is not the most enjoyable process. The slag is ugly, the welds don't look near as good as what I can do with TIG, but it still gets the job done. It still gets the job done pretty well. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. I got a piece of 2-inch square tubing that's 1/8 inch thick that I'm going to practice on, and then I also have some 090 diamond plate pieces that I need to weld on a lid. And we're going to try it. That might be a little too thin, but we're going to try it anyways. Let's get started. So the first and most important thing about aluminum is that aluminum has to stay clean. Yes, even stick welding, aluminum still has to be clean. So I got a brand new sanding pad that I'm going to use to clean up the surface that I'm going to weld on. I'm just going to throw things apparently. There we go. Into the wild blue yonder, off we go into the stars. Now the reason why aluminum is much more difficult to weld than mild steel is that aluminum doesn't just get hot in the place you're welding. Aluminum is really good at dissipating heat, so the whole piece gets hot. So if it overheats, you don't just fall through in that little spot and you're able to speed up and get away from it. Kind of the whole thing falls out. So it's very important to keep a watchful eye on your heat and what the piece is doing. Now the first thing I'm going to do with aluminum, I'm going to preheat it a little bit to get some heat in it. Okay, now these are 332 4043 electrodes. 4043 will weld just about any alloy of aluminum, and I've got my machine set at about 60 amps. Now the thing about these aluminum electrodes is that they get used up very quickly. Aluminum is a soft metal, so the rate at which this gets taken up is a lot faster than a steel electrode. You can see my puddle's starting to flatten out and get bigger. That means the aluminum's falling through. Yep. Stopped just in time. So there's a couple characteristics of welding aluminum that you should know. Number one, the drag angle is going to be a little different. So instead of running at a 15-degree dragging angle like you would 70-18, it's going to be a little bit more of a pushing angle, actually almost straight down. So when you're running to fire up, you start like this, but then once you get that rod going, what you come to find is that the edge of this rod starts burning up quicker than what the slag on the front side can melt. So if you trade your angle to push, it actually goes a lot better. The other thing too is that the aluminum gets very hot very quickly. So as soon as that weld starts flattening out and that puddle gets bigger and bigger really fast, stop. That means you're starting to fall through and you're going to have a bad day. I wouldn't recommend turning your heat down and keep running, because the way aluminum is, it dissipates the heat really well, so all the heat is spread out amongst the whole piece. So when you fire up, you're going to get going again, but then it's going to fall out really quick. So stop, let it cool down. Aluminum cools a lot quicker than steel does, and then get back to it. These rods also need to stay very clean and very dry. I don't think it says anything about keeping them in a rod oven. And all the research that I did, it doesn't say anything about it. But it is very important to keep these clean and dry. But you can see after a little bit of practice and getting used to the rate at which that rod gets consumed, because it is much faster than steel, the beads come out pretty good. I'm building a lid for a box, and I'm going to try welding some 090 sheet metal and see how it does there. I may have to turn my heat down a little bit and move really quickly, but hell, let's try it. Just tack these corners real quick. This is going to be a tough one because this stuff melts fairly quickly. Now I want you to watch this backside here and see what happens. I'm going to get a couple tacks in, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing this bubble out because of the way aluminum acts, because it's a pain. God, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to weld this very well. This is going to be a pain. I'm going to turn myself down. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Try again. I'm going to move over here. I have to move really fast. Like really fast. Well, good thing is that this puddle isn't really like water. It's more like yogurt. Yeah. That's the only way I can explain it. You'll have to get some to try for yourself. I'm actually surprised at how well it is doing. I didn't think I was even going to be able to do this at all. Alright. Watch how fast I have to go. This is real time. And I still burn through. This is not ideal at all. 090, 332, stick welding aluminum. Not the most ideal situation in the first place, but it's working. I mean, considering the fact that I'm pretty much doing something I'm not supposed to with these size of rods, pretty good. Well, there you have it. That's stick welding with aluminum. Not the most enjoyable experience anymore, but you know what? I have to admit, and I have to give them props. Blue Demon E4043, these are some of the nicest aluminum welding electrodes that I've used. And I've used a couple, about 3 different brands. And these are definitely the nicest ones so far. These welded the best, by a long shot. I'm not sponsored by them in any way. They just sent me a couple tubes of welding rods to try, and I'm pretty impressed with these. So, if you need a set, get some from Blue Demon. They're pretty good. That's it for this video. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know. I will always welcome suggestions. I do have a build video coming up for the trailer that you guys have seen in some of the shorts. is going to be up on Yes Welder first, and then I will have it here 3 to 4 days after. Oh, thanks for watching. I'll see you later.